Well, yesterday, not here, events. So, yesterday we got to know the rare summon invocation of spirits and divines summons banner for the weekend, starting on 17th, which is Friday. And today we have something else that has popped out while the hero details have been announced in the section where you can actually go over here and check this. So there is a video and stuff like that. Having said that, let's go back to that particular banner because it has both heroes. So special ancient summon banner has been announced, 15x. Now, what is this big deal about 15x? Ancient exclusive nightmare lord. How does that make anything special? I would like to really understand, because that's a regular freaking hero just being put under a particular section within the game. We already have the legendary. I mean, okay, I understand some selling has to be done and some pumping up has to be done, but let's be a little real. Rygar. He's a fighter, normal, so nothing else. And he is Nightmare Lord. Joins the gang of lords, Epic Wrath, Torador, and now we have Rygar that's coming on the way. What does he do? Single target attack, ally buff, hard control. Let's find out what that is. Talent. Hammer attack has 20% chance to inflict stun. So that's control. 1 second. Many heroes give half a second. This fellow is giving double of that. Or let me say 100% more of that. While axe attack has 20% chance to inflict defense reduction. The hammer gives stun, defense reduction is given by the axe. It's a minus 20% for 5 second defense reduction. That's what the two weapons are there for. You can clearly see he's got an axe and he's got this hammer. That's the talent. When you look at it, he has self plus 2 tiles, which means total of 3 tiles, range. The range remains the same. We can see the HP is 28,000 and attack numbers are 6,223. That's pretty good. Now we go into these abilities that he has, or attributes that he has. Physical damage has 40% chance to attack with the hammer and deal 100% damage. Also has 40% chance to attack with the axe and deal 100% damage. And a 20% chance to use Warlord's Might. Attacks with 2 weapons simultaneously and has a chance to trigger talent effects. Talent effects are explained over here. This is really cool. Because when the 20% chance to use Warlord's Might, that is using both the weapons, dealing 100% damage 2 times. So that's going to be a double whammy. Otherwise, it's 40-40. Which one he's going to do? It's going to be either a stun or it's going to be a defense reduction. And the damage, which is 100%, can be skilled up by 20% over here. You can clearly see. So all 100, 100, 100 will become 120 once you do the full skill up. Let's go to the ultimate. Manual, Earth, Shatter. It's going to be the same. Here, the range remains the same. I just wanted to confirm the range. Ultimate is for 25 seconds. Basic attack is turned into Warlord's Might. That's Warlord's Might for the period of 25 seconds, which is attacks with 2 weapons simultaneously and has a chance to trigger talent effects. And doubles the chance of inflicting stun and defense reduction on targets. Every 3 attacks trigger an earthquake, or triggers 3 attacks. Triggers an earthquake that deals 200% damage to 1 main target and 50% damage to up to 5 the target's nearby enemies. Seriously, I mean, Munton, English is not such a difficult language. You just need to hire one fellow in China, just go onto the street, look for a non-Chinese fellow. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to make it a little bit light. Grab who speaks English and bring, and just show it, or form a committee and just share this. I mean, I would be very happy to actually rectify the English part. I mean, this is really jumbly, pumbly English, and this is a global game. Now, there is a skill up possible of earthquake damage. The main target, which is plus 50, and earthquake damage to the. So, yeah, there is 100% that is going to get triggered. So 200 will become 300, and earthquake damage to nearby targets can go up by 20%, which is from 50 to 70. So 200% earthquake damage to one main target can be scaled up by 100 to become 320 for the 5 enemies whack, which will become 70. There's your ultimate explained. Now, brute strength is one of the passives. Warlord's might ignores 15% of the target's defense. There's a difference. So Warlord's might does double whack with both the weapons and ignores 15% of the target's defense. Defense reduction is different from ignoring defense. So defense reduction, if it is on, then ignoring 15% defense is going to stack. That's my clear understanding. When Warlord's Might is triggered, increases attack by 2% for 10 seconds and stacks up 3 times. So 2% will stack up 3 times to 6%. I can clearly see attack increase through skill up is available of 3. So 5% it will become for 10 seconds and 3 stacks will be 15. And defense penetration will also go up by 5%. So it will become 20% of ignorance of target's defense. Let's go forward to the last one. Calloused hands. Auto. Every 70 seconds resists 1 instance of damage. When triggered, increases damage by 15% for 10 seconds. Each time the hero deals damage, reduces the cooldown of this effect by 1 second. Via skill up, you can straight away reduce the cooldown by 10 seconds. So it will become 60. And then you reduce further from there. And the cool part is the first skill up itself is minus 10. And then damage increase. So damage by 15% can be scaled up by 10%. 10% to 25. And damage increase duration can be increased from 10 to 15 via skill up. So that's that. The Lord bonus. So it's 15, blah, blah, blah. 35, however, the healing received is 15. Faction team members, basic attack has 30% chance of handling. I don't see that 3, so let's go back. There is something maybe special. So everything is the same. And each basic attack restores 3% HP. Applied buffs last until the end of the ultimate. So I think this 3% HP doesn't exist elsewhere as far as I understand. Actually, I could have typed there and gone very quickly. See, I'm also discovering constantly. So that's Rygar. He obviously blocks 2. Cost is 19. And now it's time to go into the awakenings. So awakening number 1. During the ultimate triggers 1 earthquake every 2 attacks instead. And 1 earthquake, which is that very badass hammer. Then its attack stats being increased by 300 and increases faction team members' attack speed by 20. Then Awaken 3 is increase the ultimate duration by 10 seconds. So I think it was 25 if I remember. It goes to. Yeah. And there is no skill up available of time. So it's Awaken 3. This will be penetration. And last one is increases the maximum strength of brute strength attack increase by 2. Attack increase. So via skill up, 2 becomes 5 and it'll get increased further. That doesn't seem so crazy if I understand. So that's your Rygar. One of the conversation is I'm hearing 2 versions from people who are testing and speaking. I would like to believe these are test server guys, so they may have some things. And there is an underwhelming feel about him. So that's that. And maybe the other conversation, he's not as crazy and great as it's being spoken. So I haven't tested him, so I cannot say. If I just go by what I have read, I would say he's fairly good. But is he something to lose your sleep on? Absolutely no. If you have Torador, you don't even need to look at this fellow. The important factor is, yes, he's a fighter, but you have to look at your roster. If you are loaded with fighters, it's really no big deal. And if you have Torador, Wrath is a fighter. And this guy will pop in as and when, in case you don't want to spend like crazy. If you want to, go for it. And this is not the blue shards, the rare summons. This is the ancients. So ancients are the high value. Now, high value I can understand if the hero is like a Praetus or an Ingrid or some really good hero out there. But he, first of all, is a me too, very clearly. And I'm saying me too because there's already two fellows sitting over there, one epic and one legendary. And in case you have the legendary, then he loses the churn. Now I'll go to so that's my understanding of this whole thing. Now I'm going to go to the second one and quickly run through this. Now I would want this hero, Thallen, but I have so many fighters that I don't know whether he'll get used. That's the situation the game is at now. And that's the situation that happens when crazy heroes are being brought in. So yes, it hasn't started raining heavily, but heroes are raining in pretty regularly. But he is somebody that is going to be handy from a faction perspective. I just finished my faction trials. So all done, unless something new and crazy comes specific to factions. I don't see anything big in terms of the faction trials. I would be very happy when I look at my faction gang. So this is the situation of my gang. So that obviously no, but from a legendary perspective, Helga, this guy, he's there. Then I've got really a good collection of mages. There's not too many, but then I still have 3 fellows. So yeah, I'm seeing loads of mages. So I think Esoteria order, the Esotericists, has got massive number of that. He would be absolutely fantastic. So that's that. Now, seeing one thing that you can actually go and check is the review, and you can actually see the rating that he has been given. He has a pretty decent rating in most parts of the tough play in the game, and that is super cool. Now, what is Thallen about? So he's a magic fighter, which adds to the whole fun, because then he can actually target quite a few situations of light armor and whack around. And the way to find out is just tap the word magic, and you can clearly see what does magic do. 20% additional damage, that's plus 20 to heavy armor. Light armor is piercers, and yes, magic is heavy armor. So he comes in extremely handy in that particular zone. So that's one unique benefit that he brings to the gameplay. Multi-target attack, hard control, ally buff, continuous damage. All fantastic. Let's read the talent. Each basic attack has a chance equivalent to 50% of the current rage percentage to turn into a luminous strike, which deals 240% damage to up to 5 enemies. Now that's badass. 240% damage to up to 5 enemies is fantastic. Let's look at his numbers. So standard 20k health and roughly about close to, yeah, actually 4,000 attack standard. There's nothing great in there. And moving forward, let's look at the first. Blocks 2 cost 20. 1 second. Arena cost is additional damage, which means he's still costly in the arena. He doesn't begin cheap in the arena. He whacks harder. Now magic attack, deals 50% damage to up to 5 enemies 2 times. And this can be scaled up by 10% to 60%. So he whacks twice. Ultimate. That is huge. The ultimate range is massive. He is covering 4 by 3. You can clearly see the dot being outside of that particular range. So he's basically covering 12 tiles in front. That is insane. And this is what makes him, and he's a magic damager, which means he's basically a fighter who manages marksman and mage range. Whoa. Throws Gungnir to one enemy in an extended range, dealing 560% damage to up to 8 enemies around the target upon the hit. Gungnir will stay at the target location for up to 12 seconds before returning, during which the hero stops attacking and Gungnir emits a pulse every 2 seconds, dealing 300% damage to up to 8 enemies around and inflicting magic resistance reduction. When the number of blocked enemies reaches maximum, Gungnir will return immediately, and the skill up of damage is available in the ultimate. There's 2 levels. Gungnir direct damage, which is the first one, is plus 90%, and Gungnir pulse damage, which is the second one. From 300, it'll go to 400. So 650 and 400. Wow. So he is real continuous damage. There you go. Ruthless Splendor is one of the passives. When receiving direct damage from enemies blocked by the hero, there is a 10% chance to inflict 1 stack of radiant erosion on the damage dealer. Deals continuous true damage based on defense of the inflicted target every 2 seconds, stacking up 3 times. If the enemy is inflicted with radiant erosion already, because he could be moving as a faction gang, then dealing damage to them every time will cost 1 stack of radiant erosion and deal extra 80% damage 1 time. Going to Gungnir's Might. In 10 seconds after Gungnir returns, the hero increases attack by 27%, okay, which can be scaled up by 13, so it'll go to 40%, and inflicts stun of 0.5 seconds with basic attack and luminous strike. Effect duration can go up to 15% via skill up. And of course, this was the arena. Increases damage in the arena by 15%. That's that. Now, Thallen, absolutely fantastic hero. So, I don't know. Personally, for my roster, since I already have Torador, and there is this tiny benefit that Rygar brings, I would be more excited to get Thallen instead of Rygar. But Rygar is absolutely welcome because Lord is a Lord, and that's fun. That's it. The benefit is in a lot of gameplay, 2 different heroes, so I can actually use him in multiple, at least currently in the game, there are 2 teams one requires, and that's primarily the APOC 1 and 2, which is where I use Wrath. So the benefit will be, it'll be straight Rygar. So that will help in increasing the damage. But that's my thought, that it's not the sky is falling down with this particular hero. He's not the sky falling down hero kind of stuff. I am more excited about Yuri than Rygar, honestly speaking. I'm keen to understand how she is going to, I haven't tested her, but would be really keen, primarily because of the bond skill benefit, and at the same time, keen to see how she goes about stuff, and will she join in as at the same level as Silas and Hex. Obviously, might not be at that level, but still close by, and not become a niche like a Nyx. Like, yes, Nyx war has been helpful in faction trials, but I don't use her otherwise. So I don't know. Except obviously wait for the Immortal Codex, where Pelagia's section, she basically owns it. So that's that. Interesting weekend coming, and we have got four, I would say, fairly decent, two clearly new heroes, which automatically brings excitement. Thankfully, they are two different types of new heroes. And when you look at it, we have a anti-heal damager stroke mini healer. Artemis is absolutely a must-have in every roster. And Yuri, Bond skill heroes have this fun part. So Yuri is very clearly worth it, colorful. So that's that. Obviously part of two factions. And that's it. It's been amazing discovering how Artemis's damage is insane. Obviously provided certain conditions. And Thallen and Rygar. So it doesn't seem such a crazy big weekend, but there are some catchy heroes worth going for. I will leave it at that. Trust this helps. And good luck for your summons. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.